All right, Garrett. Let's see if you're in. I don't know why nothing is working. There we go. Got it. Got it. Finally got it to work. Andy, how you doing, brother? Switch to camera 2. Hey, look at that. Camera 2 works. Here we go again. I am in here. I will actually fix all this up after the fact, so all you guys can we'll just say we started again. Damn. Wow. All right, guys. Actually having lunch today. Today's lunch is homemade chili dogs. Well, not all homemade. Good stuff. I hope you guys, well, that's probably not the best idea I ever had, is to actually have lunch and talk on YouTube. What am I trying to be, a food guy? I don't know. I guess today I kind of am. And good morning. Let's say good morning to a few of you guys. Andy Cowley, first. He was first twice today. Here we go again. I got our first super chat from Dawn. Thank you, Dawn. Yep. Dawn says, let the super chats start. And Dawn, thank you very, very much for that. Guys, welcome to the show. Hey, got a lot of stuff to go through today. I have a huge, I even wrote it down. Lots of stuff. So here's the deal. I know a lot of you guys are going to have, and let me try to put up. Let me try to get something going here. Let's see, live stream. I'm going to put up my live stream. I'm going to kill. Yep, that's done. Let's see. All right. So here's the deal. If you have a really good comment or you got something you really want to get on, I'm bringing on the son I never had onto the show today. We'll introduce him in just a second, but to get my attention, do a super chat with your comment. I will pick your comment up, and we'll break in and get those comments going. So I'm going to first of all run you back here, and we're going to introduce the son I never had, a brand spanking new ham. This is absolutely the first time I've introduced him as a ham. And let me see if I can't. Garrett, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay. Let me see if I can't find your call sign in here. Yep. There it is. Garrett, KK7AYK, brand spanking new ham. Everybody, welcome Garrett to the show. Garrett lives here in Idaho, and he's up in the Treasure Valley in Boise, or outside of Boise. Still in Ada County, though, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah, you are. Anyway, let me put my glasses back on here, and we are going to jump right into it. Man, I see a lot of guys in the chat here. Paul C from VK Land. How you doing, Paul? Ham it up. What's for lunch? Again, Lunch is chili dogs here, and I'm gonna have a little bite of chili dog. While we're going, so good. I gotta put Garrett back in the shot here, and yeah, Mike says congratulations, Garrett. So
Thank you.
yeah, and that's a big congratulations. I've known you for years, and I want to say congratulations on getting your ham license.
Thank you. Well, I plan to get my generals pretty soon, so
That would, you know what? There you go. That is the cool thing there. All right. Let's see. First of all, so today we are talking about the top things to prep for this coming winter. And why is this winter different from all other winters? Well, number one, we got COVID. There's the actual sickness of COVID, which is an issue, just like the flu is an issue. But we also have the government response. And hey, you know what? I think the government is trying to make a power grab because of this whole COVID thing. Remember, never let a good emergency go to waste. Let's see. So, number one, if you get sick, you're gonna need to have the supplies to take care of yourself and or your family. Remember that. We're going to be able to count less and less on hospitals, the government, and any other institutions to take care of us. Hospitals say they're at capacity when in fact they're at 30 and 40% of bed space, but they're saying they're at capacity because they're going to leave some fudge room. Hospitals are overcrowded, understaffed, and that's the other thing. Hospitals are understaffed. As more and more hospitals require their employees to be vaccinated, more and more employees are going to leave the employment of those hospitals, leaving those hospitals understaffed. Remember, there is government lockdowns. I'm gonna come out over here, and I'll talk to you guys over here. There's going to be government lockdowns. California's kind of going that way again. I imagine very soon they'll have another lockdown. Vaccine mandates. The federal government's trying to mandate everybody get vaccinated. I think that is a choice between you and your doctor, or you and your religion or your beliefs, whatever. Vaccine passports. Look at what New York City is doing right now. They're locking out literally half of their city population from going out to restaurants, gyms, bars, shows, whatever. They're literally, it was nudge, now it's shove. Soon enough it'll be shoot. Let's see. Let's go back to camera 2 over here. We'll bring Garrett back in. Government lockdowns. The unwashed, unvaccinated persons. There is a distinct possibility that we're going to have denial of services, access to food, to adequate services, to medical services. I could see this as more of a shove for the unwashed in our society. Let's see, drought, food shortages, supply shortages, and that's already happening, guys. Fuel prices are going to skyrocket. They already have. I remember at the beginning of this year, 2021, gas here in the Magic Valley of Idaho was about $1.78 a gallon. Now it's creeping up to $4 a gallon. It's $5 and $6 a gallon in California. Kind of unsustainable. That means you're going to have trucking slowdowns. You're going to have less trucks on the road as truckers can't afford to run. They can't afford to operate with fuel costs climbing the way they are. The PG&E power outages on the West Coast. Excuse me. That is good chili dog, but man, that is killing me. Paper shortages. I was just watching a YouTube video, and we'll get to this guy a little bit later, but there's already a paper shortage that originates out of China, of all places, and it is going to affect us. There again, toilet paper, paper goods, that is going to come into very short supply once again here in the United States. State and federal consolidation of power. You know, and let me get to my G1 graphic here. California just passed a bill signed by Lord Newsom, and this is prohibiting, they're going to end single-family zoning in California, which means going forward, no more single-family housing in the state of California. And let's see if I can't bring back. I have to undo that, and I'm going to bring Garrett back in. Garrett, you still there?
I'm still here.
Okay, good. So as far as that, I see that as kind of that government power grab. One of the things that government wants to do, Garrett, is what? You gotta look at your notes.
Yeah.
It's going like the rest of today's show.
Yeah, so there's obviously threat of war and stuff like that coming up. War with China, the Taliban, Russia, North Korea. And then there's also threat of Balkanization. And Balkanization is basically where you have one government entity that breaks up into separate, different ones. And that's definitely a serious threat, too. You have different political factions, stuff like that, trying to split off and stuff like that. Then you have civil war, civil unrest, and I don't see that as like just how the original Civil War was, which was basically where everybody was lined in a field and shot each other. It's more like probably going to be like the Troubles of Ireland in the 70s.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Let me, I'm taking a bite of lunch. And, man, you're too fast there for me. Oh, you're taking a bite of lunch too. That's good. Mm-hmm. Because you know what? This is Lunch and Ham Radio. But today we're talking about part of Ham Radio is being prepared. We're talking about being prepared. We're just kind of going through this. You know, one of the other things that that the big government is going for here is limiting our rights. And let me go into number 2 here. Red flag laws. Our Congress, in case you guys don't know, just the House, they passed a red flag. They passed red flag legislation targeting ex-military members. Now, what do I see this as? Attempting to limit our trained citizens from defending themselves, their communities, and the Constitution. What is it, Garrett? You can't take over a country, an armed country, can you?
No, you cannot, and that's and um, one of the original causes of gun control politically in the United States is actually to disarm slaves from rebelling against their masters, and a lot of totalitarian governments in like the 1900s one of the first things they did was disarm the populace so that they couldn't rebel against the leaders, just like the October Revolution of 1917.
Yeah. MR Rice says bread and water never gets old. Oh, never gets cold. No, that's true. Bread and water never get cold, but water gets warm, bread gets soggy and stale. um, yeah. So anyway, back to all the other stuff. You know, we also know we've got had things here that we still need to be worried about. You know, we've had Occupy, we had the George Floyd riots, BLM and Antifa riots all around the country that were pretty much just blown off by governments, and the people were left to their own devices. People in Portland were basically held hostage and left to their own devices during those riots. The unclean. Let's see. That is number 5. Yeah, you see, popular culture is now getting on board with demonizing the unclean or the unvaccinated. And really, we as the unvaccinated in certain areas of this country already are being basically demonized and made to be second-class citizens. Half of the population of New York City is no longer allowed to go into bars, restaurants, gyms, nightclubs. It's already happening here. I mean, we are effectively becoming the Jews of Nazi Germany. It's the same kind of thing. What do, Garrett? We're dehumanizing the
Yeah,
unvaccinated.
yeah. The easiest way to create an enemy is to dehumanize them. Then, therefore, if you dehumanize them, then everybody thinks they're not human, and therefore you can treat them however you like.
Yeah, definitely. Got 55 people currently on the stream. 17 thumbs up, 1 thumbs down. I would like to see 52 thumbs up if we could. Guys, smash it. It doesn't cost anything. It's free to you. So anyway, let's, we've got extreme leftist ideology versus regular conventional American theory and values, and they are so diametrically opposed. There is, I see no way for that divide to be closed up. I mean, we are so close, so on the cusp of really, really bad stuff. So let's get into the things that we need to get into today, and let's go back here, get Garrett back up on the screen. And yeah, food. We're going to start off with food because, hey, you know what? You gotta have food. And right now is when the getting is good. So get while the getting is good. We are going to be facing massive food shortages. I'm sure you've already gone into the grocery store in the last, I don't know, week, 2 weeks, and you've seen big holes in some of the store shelves. It's becoming commonplace. A lot of the things that we normally see in the grocery store are just not there, or they're there and they're gone. Um, bad juju, bad stuff. Um, Stockpiles, long term shelf life or long shelf life food. That's the stuff that you need to be picking up right now. Pick it up: beans, legumes, rice, maybe some of the freeze dried meals. I know Costco sells Mountain House stuff, and a lot of guys say, yeah, Mountain House not the best stuff in the world, but it will work in a pinch. We have I keep a stock of, of varied amounts of kinds of food. Stuff like on the bottom, rice that I've packed literally 10 years ago. I pull it out today. It's good because I've done it right. All kinds of different stuff. The Agassiz foods that you see here in this picture, these are actually very good, and they're very or reasonably inexpensive, available at Walmart. Walmart has a bulk food section. You can go in, you can buy 1 can or 10 cans, whatever you want. Providence Pantry is another good one. I like them. I've tried a lot of these different foods, and most of them, or a lot of them, are very, very good. In some of the Mountain House stuff, very good. Things like dry milk, butter powder, even like the survival tabs up in the top of the screen there. All that stuff is really, really good to have on hand. And if you don't need it all the time, oh well. You know what? It's that kind of, you might need it. I also keep, the food buckets, MREs, stuff like that. I've got a Berkey water filter way up there in that, in the counter. Yeah, that way, over here, up in the top, a couple of water filters. And I've got the water filters here too. Let me kill that one. And we'll go down there. So, you know what? Have some of that stuff. Ideally, you know what? I mean, different people say different things. A month's worth of food, a year's worth of food, whatever you can cobble together. But you know what? That survival food and the long-term food storage stuff, it's only going to go so far. It's not going to last forever. And if we get to a point like some of the Soviet bloc countries, that stuff is going to run out at some point, or you're going to use it as trade bait for stuff you will also need. You need fresh food too. You need to supplement this stuff with stuff that maybe you could preserve out of a garden, and everybody can grow a garden. Let's see. Yeah, gardens can be grown anywhere. Graphic number 8. Got that up. That brings me to hunting and livestock. So there are other semi-sustainable methods of having food on an ongoing basis. And Garrett, you got anything to add?
No, hunting and livestock are good options. I mean, as humans, we've been doing that for thousands of years, and so it lasted that long.
Yep, yep. And and I get it. Livestock's not an option if you live in a city or you live in an urbanized area. Um, it just isn't. But possibly rabbits might be. Oh, got a couple more thumbs down. Oh. Let's see. Spices. Very important to stock spices. That'll help you salt meat to preserve it. Keep hot sauces. Stockpile some hot sauces and other spices. Using spice when times are tough, when it's really really bad, will boost morale. If you've got crappy tasting food, it's like gruel. If you could put uh, you could put hot sauce on gruel and it makes it better. It makes you happy. Yes, eggs from chickens. You could grow chickens and keep chickens. That is from Gary. Um, good point. We have chickens. We have chicken eggs here. We have other stuff growing here. Um, Local honey. I can't stress how important local honey is. Um, it is good for a variety of things. It's a sweetener, a natural sweetener. It's good for your health, good for allergies. Um, it's been used as medicine or in conjunction with medicine. A cough suppressant adds flavor to things. Um, and it boosts your immunity. Boost your natural immunity. And that's all been proven. Travel foods. I like to call this my get home bag, and this is stuff that you can, instead of, as opposed to the bug out bag, the bag that you carry that you're going to bug out with. This is a maybe a smaller bag, depending upon how far you're traveling from home. If shit hits the fan while you're gone, you can have enough food, water, and supplies to get you home. Whether you could do it in the car, whether or whether you have to hoof it, and you might have to hoof it. Who knows? Having a get home bag with enough stuff to get you home uh, is essential to keep with you. Having some booze, some alcohol, vodka, or other high grain spirits, besides being able to take the edge off after a long, hard day, it is good, excellent for trade bait. If you need eggs, if you need bread, or you want vegetables, and somebody wants alcohol, there's trade bait right there. Um, if you have like a little rocket stove or something, it can be used as fuel to keep that to make that stove go and make you some hot food. It's a fire starter. If you're going to start the campfire, it is good as an antiseptic, as well um, uh, as a narcotic or a downer in case you got to do some impromptu surgery. Well, you know what? You can liquor people up. Uh, Water is the next important thing, or probably even more important than food. And you got to ask yourself, number one, um, where am I with the water? And let's run in here to number 9. Graphic number 9. Number 1, Are you on city water or are you on a well? And what's the status of the city water and the well? You know, if the grid comes down, the city water can stop at any time. If you're on a well, it can run dry, but you'll have less of a chance of it running dry as long as you've got power to run that well. Other things you can prep on are generators. Have solar to back up the generator. Have things like a simple pump, which is a well pump that can you could throw that down your well hole and you can hand pump up to 5 gallons a minute, or 5 gallons an hour. I think I forget, 5 gallons a minute. Yep. Long-term water storage. I own a couple of these. I've owned them for years. 55-gallon barrels for water storage. You can rotate this water. You could dump it out yearly. Now, what I haven't dealt with yet is long-term water storage in freezing conditions. And I don't know how this is going to work. This is going to be something that I am going to have to deal with this year for the first time. I see one of my brothers in there, Danny Cartwright, from my team. Yep, 36 liters. Have made it before. 36 liters. Lasted a couple of years and taste great. From miso paste. And remember, guys, if you want to get, if you really got a good point, please don't hesitate to do a small, even a small super chat. That will help me see it. Let's see. Long-term storage again of water storage is number 11. Got to go to number 11 in here. The 1,000-gallon or even bigger black plastic tanks. Again, if you're serious about this, look at this. A lot more bang for the buck. I know the 55-gallon drums are, I just showed one for $50 for a 55-gallon drum, but a lot of them are going for a ton more money than that. I mean, I've seen them going for $200 a pop, $737. A lot more bang for your buck for a 1,000-gallon water tank. And the reason I talk about having these kinds of water storage is because a lot of people do the bottled water thing, and maybe you got 4 or 5 cases of bottled water. Well, again, stores are limiting how much water you can buy at a time, how much bottled water. This is not from last year. This is dated September 24th of this year. 4 or 5 days ago. So it's coming, guys. It is here. It is coming. And the reason, and besides water shortages in the West, the big reason that that it is happening, especially with the bottled water, is there's a plastic shortage. And you know, how much plastic do we use as a society every day, every year? And now can't buy water because there's no plastic to make the bottled water. So you got to start thinking outside the box. Start thinking about those bigger term things. Maybe keeping your water bottles and refilling those things. Let's see. Oh, there's the water filters. And let me move lunch over here. And We'll go over here to camera 3. We'll move lunch over. Water filters. Things like the Life Straw and the Catadine filters. These are good for emergencies. These are great items to keep in your get home bags or your bug out bag. The Life Straw you could drink literally out of a river, a stream, or even contaminated water sources. I always keep one of these with me in my get home bag, and I keep one in a more traditional bug out bag. These are better in a more traditional bug out bag, a little bigger. They come in a bigger bag with a lot more stuff in them of extra filters and all that good stuff. But you want to keep the water filters. And we'll put Garrett back in there.
So another important thing to obtain while you still can and to stock up on is medical type stuff like IFAKs, which are individual first aid kits, boo-boo kits like band-aids, bandages, blowout kits, which are basically like combat trauma kits, so Israeli bandages, and then general trauma kits, gloves, mask, PPE, all that stuff's super important. And also to female hygiene products is another great thing to stock up on, tampons, etc. And for the non-females out there, you can also use tampons for other purposes like bloody nose, and other medical applications. So they're not just for that purpose too. So they're a very good thing to stock up on.
You can also use them as trade bait because
Yes.
unprepared females are going to bleed every month and they're going to need that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that stuff will become valuable in a very grid down situation. I'm sitting here eating. Go back to camera 2. We'll let Garrett eat a little bit. Medications. Lots of us are not so young anymore, and we take medications for whatever. I would suggest keeping a 60 to 90 day supply of your prescription meds, if possible. And I know a lot of times, insurance companies won't buy off on getting you any more. Sometimes you could talk to your doctor, have them do the prescribe, and you might be able to buy that extra medication in cash. I would say if it's life-sustaining medication, that is definitely something that I would absolutely be prepared to buy. Let's see. Quick comment here, Brent Smith. Are you familiar with Amron? You are in their area. No, I'm not. So maybe you can explain that one, what Amron is.
I believe that's the American Readout.
Oh, okay. Well, that I'm familiar with. I just didn't know the acronym. Thanks. Keep some pain relievers. Aspirin, Tylenol, fever reducers, antibiotics if you can. Keep that stuff on hand. Keep enough of it to keep yourself going, if at all possible, for 6 months. Hopefully, if something happened in this country, in 6 months we can have some kind of we can have some kind of stabilization. That would be the best thing. The best scenario is a little bit of stabilization. But until then, you're on your own. Just consider you being on your own. We'll bring Garrett back in there. The controlled meds for heavy duty pain, traumas, if at all possible, stockpile some of that stuff. Keep it in the safe. Keep it hidden away. It's very, it's controlled stuff. Like your Vicodin, some of the other pain killers, heavy duty pain meds. If there's no trauma centers available, if there's no hospitals available to you, you're on your own again. And if you've got a gunshot wound, if you have a big boo-boo, if you, you cut your leg open with a chainsaw, and you don't have any medical any medical supplies, any medical training or professionals to help you, you're screwed. You're gonna die.
Yeah, and a lot of times there will be like different tactical training places or gun training places that will have first aid courses that you can take and all sorts of trauma courses. So it's definitely good to sign up for those.
Yeah, definitely.
And Brett Smith said it's the American Readout Radio Operator Network.
I haven't checked them out. That'd be interesting. And now that you're a ham, that might be something that you want to check out. Maybe you could check that out on behalf of our family.
Will do.
Let's see. Other things that you can do is I am a huge proponent of coming up with a family emergency plan, having it all written down, and that includes having a list of your major medical conditions, your allergies, and one of the big things is to keep that on you. So if you get hurt, even when times are good, if you get hurt, if you get seriously wounded, and somebody's going to render aid to you, it's kind of like on my work boots. I had tags on each boot that had my blood type on them. So if I had one leg blown off, at least they could look at the other leg and say, oh, he's an A positive guy. So I suggest that kind of stuff. Maybe keep something in your wallet with your allergies, major medical conditions. I know they've got the little medical alert bracelets. Those are always handy, I guess, if you've got really bad stuff. Let's see. DK5ONV says, don't laugh. There's plenty of dumb butts out there who have cut their legs off with chainsaws. Yeah, I know. I used to go to those calls where guys would cut their legs off with chainsaws or their arms or whatever because they were doing stupid shit. Hunting accidents happen. Yes, hunting accidents do happen. Again, great live stream. Oh, look at that. Thank you, Gary or Jerry. Love to see that. Love to see the thumbs up. 40 thumbs up, 4 thumbs down. If you're one of the guys who's given me a thumbs down, put it in the comments. Why? Am I missing something? I'm not the end all be all of preparedness. I am learning just like you are, but I'm kind of trying to facilitate a little bit more of a back and forth here as much as I can. The next thing that we're going to talk about here is defense, defending yourself. And that would mean these things, some of these. And really, where I want to go with this, and not to be, because I'm not a gun channel, but I'm fairly versed in firearms, is to have an adequate amount of tools in your tool chest to get the job done. So there's the handgun aspect. There's also the rifle aspect, and I think you should have both. You agree, Garrett?
Yeah, oh, for sure.
Yeah. Other things in there. I don't know, Garrett. Why don't you go through the list?
Well, we have shotguns, and shotguns are a perfect close range or home defense weapon. That's just how it is. Shotguns are perfect. Bows, they're good for silent type stuff, and you can retrieve the bows too, so it's good for that. Knives, those are good for a variety of things, not just weaponry. You can use them as tools as well. Impact weapons, baseball bats, bludgeoning objects, basically. Those are always good. Night vision goggles. It's really important to own the night.
Yeah, night vision goggles here. These things are invaluable. If you're working in a and Dawn 7-3, my friend, thank you. Thanks for joining us today. Anyway, back to night vision and hearing protection. This is my setup here. If you are in a SHFT event, kind of an event, being able to own the night, not relying on flashlights, being able to use darkness to conceal yourself and get the drop on your opponents, so to speak. Being able to hunt at night if you need to. And I know in regular times right now, hunting at night is a big no-no. I get it. You can't do it. You shouldn't do it. It's against all the laws. But when you're in a survival situation, the animals come out at night, both the two-legged and the four-legged type, and you need to be able to protect yourself from the two-legged type and feed yourself with the four-legged type. And owning the night is a huge advantage if you can do it. Ammo. My belief is, and we are running up at the top of the hour. I knew we were gonna run long here. We're gonna try to get through this real quick. Keeping firearms in common calibers: 9mm, 45, 223, 5.56, 12 gauge, and possibly 308. Why do I say this? Common calibers, easy to trade for more ammo, easy to trade your ammo out if you end up hungry on the road, whatever. It is very difficult to if your main battle rifle is what, a Mosin
Nagant.
A Mosin Nagant. Good luck finding ammo for that once you run out. Likewise, a 6.5 Creedmoor. I love that rifle, but not my first choice as going in as a battle rifle. I would say minimum. How many rounds would you say minimum to keep for each weapon you have?
Absolute bare minimum is 200, but I think 500 is a more solid minimum.
Yeah, yeah. And I would say preferably 1,000 rounds per gun. Um, it is, and if you've got 4 9mm firearms, I'm talking 4,000 rounds because 1,000 rounds per weapon is what I would say is kind of a minimum. Someone in here, Brett says, don't forget 22 long rifle. And yes, 22 long rifle is a great varmint round. Great, it can kill people. Ooh, shouldn't say that. It's a great defensive round. Well, it's not a great defensive round. It's an okay defensive round. It's a much better small game hunting round, and if need be a defensive round, 22 mag is a much better hunting round and a much better survival round. If I could only take one caliber at all and only one firearm, I would probably pick a 22 mag because I can hold still 50 rounds in my pocket. And the other thing is to be proficient with any of these weapons, whether it's impact weapons or firearms or anything. Be proficient. And what does that mean, Garrett?
Well, be proficient means train at least once a month on how to use it. And also, too, some people buy these fancy $4,000 AR-15s, and sure, being proficient with that is good. But in a survival situation, if you have a bunch of like bone stock M&P 15s laying around, it doesn't quite translate as well as far as like how to handle them. So it's good to be proficient in all the different types of weapons: the cheap ARs, the more expensive ARs, the cheap pistols, expensive pistols, etc.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Let's see. Moving right along here. Under knowledge is power. Intelligence, guys. I can't stress intelligence enough. We need to keep up on major news events worldwide because as things keep unraveling around us, you will have even the mainstream news, the lamestream news, or whatever, fake news, will have hints, and they will let on to things if you're paying attention. They will let on to what's going on. Maybe not within their own party, so to speak, but as far as worldwide events, they will. You need to keep up on that, and that means going to multiple news sources to get your news. Keep up on your local news. Your local news, if you don't know what's going on in your own backyard, you could be in for some real unpleasant surprises. I'm sure there's a lot of people right now in California that are thinking, wow, someday I'm going to own a house and I'm going to live the American dream, and I'm going to, and the fact of the matter is, if you think the home prices, single family home prices, are expensive now in California, in a year, they're going to be unbelievably expensive because people that are making, there won't be any new supply. No new supply of single family houses, only multifamily, duplexes, quadplexes, apartment buildings, and generally people don't go into the suburbs and build a lot of quadplexes or multifamily dwellings. So out in California, watch out, guys. Those of you that own property now and own a house now, good for you, good on you. You're going to become paper millionaires fairly soon. But if you don't keep up on the news, you won't know what's going on. Garrett.
Yes. So, you basically need radios. Definitely. For SHTF, you need high frequency or HF radios to get longer range intel. Next state over, different region. Also, too, for close range and for very community based stuff, UHF VHF is very, very handy, and NVIS, which is basically
What is NVIS, Garrett?
it's a
Brand new
very
ham.
short. It's from my understanding, it's basically a very short range HF. Um, it's something very short range on HF.
And it's done through the antenna. It's basically a low hanging antenna that's cloud warming. We call them. You ever heard that term, cloud warmers?
No.
Because it's going straight up instead of going out at an angle and hitting a broad spectrum of the earth. Let me go back to instead of going out this way and hitting a broad spectrum of the earth way over the edge, it goes straight up and hits a smaller area right near you. NVIS. That's about as simple as I can explain it. Yeah, I what's the what do you need that short range ham radio stuff for, or UHF VHF? You're going to get your local news. Once, if the internet goes down, if cell services go down, you're going to have to get your news and information and intelligence from somewhere else. You'll get local news because the people on the next town or the next block over will be talking about what's going on, and they might talk about it with you or basically in front of you. You can use it for trading with the next block over, the next town over, or within your group or your community. So that is super important, is to have those things. And hey, you know what? It's a ham radio channel. Most of you guys absolutely are got it down with the radio stuff. Brett Smith says scanners. Scanners are a great tool. The same kind of thing. What about shelter and tarps? Yeah, Marty, if you're on the run, if you've bugged out and you live in the city, I would say, yeah, that would be a concern. Over the last several years, I've really had a change of heart on the whole bug out thing. If at all possible, I suggest bugging in place, because you've got your entire infrastructure. If you've been thinking about this at all for the past months or years, you've built an infrastructure where you are. And if you're in a fairly safe location, I would say you're much better off bugging in than trying to bug out. especially if you're trying to bug out and you don't have an infrastructure to run to, and you think you're going to camp your way out of an SHFT situation, you won't survive very long. Uh, the food out there in the wild is going to dry up. Trying to catch a squirrel is going to be near impossible within 3 months of all the people shooting up everything that moves in the forest. There won't be much left very, very quickly. And what is left is going to hide. Let's see what else here. Use both mainstream and alternative news. Get yourself a most realistic outlook on your intel. A couple of YouTube sites that I highly recommend are the Forward Observer, and another site that I found very recently is S2 Underground. Both of these guys were military intel officers, and they both put out basically daily or weekly, almost intel briefings. And I mean, this is kind of like the same kind of briefing that the president would get. Really super good sources of info. The Forward Observer on YouTube and S2 Underground. Kind of like S3 Films, but S2 Underground. Go check those guys out. The last thing I want to say in this is using your skills or your trade to benefit your group or your community. The idea here is to make yourself indispensable. We don't want the group saying, you know what, he is a drain on our group. He brings nothing to the organization, to the group. Therefore, we should either banish him or kill him and take his stuff. You don't want that. So make yourself indispensable by utilizing your skill or craft. Let's see. Yes, I will, Steve, I will have to rebuild the show notes. They were there. I had to kill that video. So after the show, I am going to go ahead and try to recreate the show notes and what this whole front end looked like. We will see. Let's see. Communications. This would be our strong suit here on the channel. Currently 49 people with us and 54 thumbs up, 4 thumbs down. And Garrett, you want to take this since you're our newest communicator in our group? Go ahead and take this one. Oh, your volume. No audio. No audio.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Perfect.
Go ahead and take it.
All right, so for communications, definitely don't trust cell phone networks or internet, because if SHFT happens, or SHTF, excuse me, dyslexia, if that stuff goes down, you can't rely upon it, and therefore alternative forms of communication. And also have portable antennas for camouflage, and if you live in like a subdivision or city, then you don't want this big antenna for people to know that you have communication. And then extra batteries, backup radios, and backup modes on the radios is always important. And then different types of ham radio, or different types of not just ham radios, but different types of radios for different missions: ham, CB, FRS, GMRS, And then keep around the house and with different family members for mundane comms, and then to communicate with trading partners in your area, to communicate with trading or with security forces, and local, regional, and DX news that you can trust.
Okay. Very,
And
very
and,
cool.
and some people would say, well, I can just, like, if SHTF happens, I can just go to Walmart and just stockpile, just raid Walmart and stockpile radios, and then, well, if SHTF happens, I don't need a license now to practice with ham radio. So therefore, the government won't exist. And therefore, I don't have to get it now, and I can just get it then and raid a Walmart for a radio, etc. What would you say to those people?
Yeah, I would say those are the type of people who they don't prep. They get on shows like this or they get on forums and they talk about, I don't need to prep. Uh, I'll just steal your stuff and kill you. And honestly, you got to remember that guys like me, I own the night and I own the sky.
Yeah.
And people like that will not make it because they're nobody's friend and they're not
Mhm.
trustworthy people. And the people that they deal with now know that they're not trustworthy people. So I think good luck to those guys. I sincerely wish you luck.
Yeah, but remember, you're a war dolphin, so you'll be able to take care of that.
Yes, yes. Let's see. Um, Steve Ash says duck. Yes. So guys, let me open it up here and see what else you guys got. We are 13 minutes past the hour, so we're running a little bit on the long side here for lunch. I totally get that. Um, you guys have do you guys have anything you want to see? Shadow Bear says even some people that do prep have the mindset when it comes to listening. They don't realize it, what's involved in HF comms, and that it requires practice. Yeah, Shadow Bear, exactly. Um, Ham radio is much like the firearms world. It is perishable skills, and as much experience as say I have in ham radio, I buy a radio and I program it and I do my thing, and I don't use that radio for a long time, and I forget how to use things. I forget how to use the radio, and now I have to go ahead and relearn. And I already learned it, so it's just a relearn thing for me. But um, people who don't have one, they'll never figure it out. They'll when they need it. It's kind of like when when seconds count, the police are minutes away. Yep. Let's see. There is such a learning curve. Jerry says there's such a learning curve when it comes to radio and comms. Yeah, there is. There's a huge learning curve, and Garrett is just about to find that out.
Yeah,
Because
the
at
test is just
some
the
point
beginning.
here, like we're gonna go camping this weekend, and at some point here, you're now going to have to start reading manuals,
Hmm.
programming radios, playing with things, and learning the system. And really, you're going to have to start learning what works and what doesn't. Why
Yeah.
can't people hear me? Why aren't people answering me on the local repeater? Is it because they don't like you, or is it because they can't hear you?
Yeah. Well, what's this squelch knob I see? All that stuff.
Yeah. Yep. Marty says, don't tell your neighbors about your preps. And Marty, to a certain extent, I agree. I don't generally advertise, uh, except here, I guess. But I generally don't advertise what I have, where I have it. But then again, um, I am in a place here where I have a trusted group of neighbors and we all kind of have the same mindset. We all have the same kind of basic capabilities, although everybody has different specialties within within that set. We have so you can't be an island. That's a big thing. You cannot be an island. You will never survive on your own. You're gonna have to trust a group of people. You can't stay up 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can't guard your own place, feed your place, take care of yourself and your place. What if you get sick or injured? What if somebody else in your family gets sick or injured? You have to be able to take care of them, and you have to be able to um, still protect yourself, and that's where a community comes in. So you're going to have to either create one or find one. Let's see. Find a local mindset group in your area from Jerry. Yep, that is huge. And if you live in a city, and uh, I know Marty lives in a city environment, and so I know your particular situation. There are people you can team up with. Uh, you're gonna have to trust somebody, my friend. You're gonna have to get in with a group. It's better to be in with a group now in good times, talking about what if, than trying to establish a group or join a group after everything comes apart, and nobody trusts outsiders. Not when, not when the lives of your family and friends are at stake right now. Let's see. Yeah, get to know those people and get to know if you can, and learn to trust them. Learn either to trust them or if you can trust those people. I don't know. What else, guys? What else is on your agenda out there? And if not, I guess we can. Now it's been, wow, almost an hour and a half, hour and 20 minutes of this. I would say, yeah, Boise is safer than, say, Portland or LA. Yeah. Garrett, you live close to Boise. How would
Yeah.
you characterize it?
Well, it's definitely. I would say it's a lot safer, but I have seen uh, Black Lives Matter rallies and Antifa rallies and stuff there, and it's definitely a lot more on the leftist spectrum. And Lauren McLean, the mayor, hired a police chief um, about a year ago who was actually from Portland. So it, I would say right now, yes, it's safer, but it could be turning into that.
Well, there you go. So even here in Idaho, we're not completely immune. We're not completely safe. Got 52 people on the stream right now and 61 thumbs up. And I want to thank you guys for that. Let's see. I think I think it's time to come over here. And thank you guys. It's we are about ready. I'm gonna say thank you to Garrett, to my son that never was. Garrett, thank you. And I'm gonna put you back in the green room here. Guys, again, I want to thank you. If you haven't hit the subscribe button, hit the subscribe button. Please hit the like on this, even though everything that could possibly go wrong with this stream went wrong on the one day that I actually had lunch with you, and I tried to really prepare something. If you like this kind of content, please let me know in the comments. I know this was long. This went very, very long. But then again, it's important. It's something that is important to me, and I know as radio operators, as emergency radio operators, it's important to you guys too. For the most part, if you haven't been thinking about it, maybe this will get you to think about it. If you have been thinking about it, but you haven't really had a plan, or maybe you need to rethink your plan, maybe this helps. I just, I don't know. I don't know what else to say. I thank you guys. Again, subscribe, like, and comment, because it really does help me. I'm trying to get back on the YouTube map. So anyway, with that, my friends, I am going to say 7-3, and I will see you guys again. Well, you know what? Got a big show coming Friday, but next Monday for lunch and ham radio. Guys, I'm Bob, K6UDA, and I'm out of here. 7-3.